Integration management is a collection of processes required to ensure that the various elements of the projects are properly coordinated. In detail, we can consider project integration management is the processes and activities to identify, define, combine, unify, and coordinate various processes and project management activities with project management process group. It involves making trade-offs among competing objectives and alternatives to meet or exceed stakeholder needs and expectations. The process is comprised of project charter development and approval for start of the project, project plan development, where we focus on integrating and coordinating all project plans to create a consistent, coherent document, project plan execution to carrying out the project plan, according to the strategy, plan, and activities as per the plan. Monitor and control project execution for change requests, as well as updates to the project management plan and documents. Integrated change control to coordinate changes across the project. Closing activities to ensure completion of project. Integration management is an important area, with 14 exam questions that touches all the process groups throughout the project's life cycle. Therefore, it is important to review and solidify your knowledge in all of the knowledge areas before proceeding with this chapter. Some important notes. Project managers must coordinate all knowledge areas throughout a project's life cycle. Many new PMs have trouble looking at the big picture and want to focus on too many details. Project integration management is not the same as projects can be selected based on a number of reasons by a company. They can be created due to the need to solve a problem, meet a legal requirement, improve or streamline a process, or to benefit from a market opportunity. Projects are undertaken by the sponsor or the initiator. Project managers can also initiate a project, but it is rare and it must be signed and approved by an authorized person in the company. Sometimes companies have numerous projects to select from. Therefore, their decision to initiate one project over the other can be difficult. There are two main project selection categories. Each of them includes various techniques. Benefits measurement method and constrained optimization methods are the two techniques used. Benefits measurement is a method where the projects are selected based on their benefit to the organization, using different criteria, such as murder board, a method where one of the projects is killed during the review meeting. Basically, the board selects one project over another. Peer review. In this method, the project is selected with peer review. Scoring models is a method where a numerical value is used for various components within a project, and the project with a higher numerical value is selected over the other project. Economic model is a method where one or more economical models are used to determine which project the company will undertake. The economic models include present value, net present value, internal rate of return, payback period, benefit cost ratio, and opportunity cost. Let us discuss other techniques. Constrained optimization methods are other methods utilized by managers to select projects. Some examples of constrained optimization methods include linear programming, integer programming, dynamic programming, and multi-objective programming. Some important points you need to understand clearly. You will not face direct questions from these definitions, but you have to answer questions understanding these points. Let's start with the present value. Present value is an economic model utilized by companies for the purpose of project selection. Present value is calculated with the formula PV equals FV divided by 1 plus R N, where R equals interest rate, N equals the number of years or time periods. Let's say Company A has a project of two projects, Project 1 and Project 2, where Project 1 has a present value of $375,657, and Project 2 has a present value of $400,000. The selection will be Project 2 with the higher present value. For the exam, when you are presented with present value options, you should pick the higher PV answer. Internal rate of return is another economic model that is utilized in project management. The method is usually used to find the financial break-even point. A payback period is calculated to find out the time it takes to recover the investment in the projects. So the shorter the time to recover your investment, the better it is. So for the exam, the smaller number of period will be the correct answer. Benefit-cost ratio tells you the payback amount for each dollar spent on the project. So this is a way to calculate the benefit one receives from the investment in dollars. Opportunity cost is an economic term used by the project sponsor and stakeholders to determine the cost of a project compared to other opportunities that are available to them. Another way to look at the opportunity cost is to see where else the company could have used the funds that are being budgeted for this project, and whether the value of this project is higher than the foregone investment or initiatives due to this project funding. Let's continue. Some more points that we will discuss now. The law of diminishing returns tells us that if two people were doing the job and you double the staff members on the same job, thus increasing the total number of people working on the same job to 4 people, by doing so, you may not reduce the work by half. It's not a linear relationship according to the law of diminishing returns. In other words, by adding more staff on the same job, you may not get one-on-one increases in efficiency, and you won't double your output. Thereby, adding additional resources will eventually peak out, and after the peak performance, you will have diminishing returns. Working capital is the amount of cash available to spend or to invest in projects by a company. In accounting terms, it is calculated by subtracting current liabilities from the current assets. Depreciation is the loss of value of equipment or assets over time. Assets' value goes down in time. For example, the value of office equipment that you purchased last year would be less this year. In tax terms, you can write off the depreciation value according to the tax schedule. Life cycle costing is a term used to define the overall cost of products over their life cycle. Over the life of a product life cycle, the cost goes up. For example, there are recalls and other support and maintenance costs which add up to the overall cost of having a product in the market. In project selection, it is better to consider long-term and not just the short-term costs. Value analysis involves accomplishing the same work for less cost by utilizing new and more effective technologies or other efficient methodologies. In which phase is the project charter developed? The answer is in the initiation phase. A project is formally authorized by having the project charter developed. The very first thing that's done on a new project is the development of the project charter. That's the document that authorizes you to do your work. But you're not always involved in making it. Sometimes it's handed to you by the sponsor. Project charter typically contains project title and description, project manager assigned or authority level, business need, project justification, resources pre-assigned, stakeholders, project description or deliverables, constraints and assumptions, summary milestone schedule, summary budget, project approval requirements, assigned project manager, responsibility and authority level, name and authority of the sponsor or other person. The project charter must be signed by the project initiator or someone with an authority stated in the charter. Once the charter is signed, the project can begin. It is stated in the project charter who will be the project manager. It also gives the authority to the project manager to apply the resources. So, what is the summary? The process of developing a document that formally authorizes the existence of a project and provides the project manager with the authority to apply organizational resources to project activities is a project charter. It is the output of this process. It provides direction on project's objectives and management. It states initial requirements that satisfy stakeholders' needs. You must expect to get some questions from this topic. Let's think how you're going to build a project charter. Statement of work, SOW, is used that is a narrative description of products or services to be delivered by the project. The SOW references business need, product scope description, and strategic plan. Business case provides the necessary information from business standpoint to determine whether or not the project is worth the required investment. Enterprise environmental factor, EEF, and organizational process assets, OPA, are also considered that we discussed earlier. Now, the tools are expert judgment and facilitation techniques. Expert judgment includes other units within the organization, consultants and stakeholders, including customer or sponsor, subject matter experts, PMO, industry groups, professional and technical association. Facilitation techniques are uses of various techniques like brainstorming, conflict resolution, problem solving, or meeting management. Project management plan developed in planning phase. This is a comprehensive document and contains all the information, including time, cost, and quality. This is a document that is progressively elaborated, or in other words, revisable. Project management plan is useful for the project on hand and also as a reference for future projects. There are many inputs to this document, including scope, estimated costs, time, and other estimates of revisable activities and resources. So the key points and summaries are: project management plan is documenting actions necessary to define, prepare, integrate, and coordinate all plans that shows how the project is executed, monitored, controlled, and closed. The process results in a project management plan that is progressively elaborated. It is always written out, not as just a Gantt chart. A repository for subsidiary plans is needed for the project. It is created by the PM with input from stakeholders, and the formal document has to be approved by designated stakeholders. Project management plan is the main reference baseline document that is used in later phases. The project management plan is all about planning for problems and having the information you need to correct those problems when they occur. The plan is actually a whole bunch of documents called subsidiary plans, each dedicated to a knowledge area and problem that could happen related to the area. Relax. Don't worry about memorizing all of the subsidiary plans. Let's continue. If you take over a project that's already underway, but there isn't a current, accurate plan written up, now, how can you develop a project management plan? You need to work with the project charter with other processes we discussed to develop a project management plan with the same tools as we learned in the project charter slide. Project management plans also have baselines. A baseline is a snapshot of the scope, schedule, and budget that you can use for planning. We will be discussing this more in a short while. As we were discussing on the previous slides, Project Management Plan is a repository for subsidiary plans needed for the project. Subsidiary plans are Scope Management Plan, Requirements Management Plan, Change Management Plan, Configuration Management Plan, Schedule Management Plan. cost management plan, quality management plan, process improvement plan, human resource plan, communications management plan, risk management plan, procurement management plan, and stakeholder management plan. We will discuss each of the plans chapter-wise. Here is the project management plan components. You are already familiar with some of these terms. First of all, baselines for cost, schedule, and scope that we will be discussing on the next slide. Scope statement is a key document that binds you, your project team, the project sponsor, and the customer. It is an agreement that defines the work of the project and the customer's business objectives. WBS is a hierarchical and incremental decomposition of the project into phases, deliverables, and work packages. It is a tree structure, which shows a subdivision of effort required to achieve an objective. For example, a program, project, and contract, cost estimation, schedule and responsibility for each deliverable, staff requirements with cost estimates, subsidiary management plans, and a life cycle selected for the project are also included in this plan. Oh, you already know so many things. Another thing that is included in project management plan is tailoring decisions. Project tailoring means adapting requirements and specifications of a project to current operational needs of an organization through reviewing, modifying, and supplementing the project data. It is a consistent process to ensure that the project is performed correctly, according to the organization's operational and business requirements. The process is carried out when the project is finished, and there is a need to tailor or fit its product to the business needs. Change management plan and configuration management plan are also part of this plan that we will be discussing shortly. Requirements and techniques for communication among stakeholders are included in this plan. The project's baseline is used to measure how performance deviates from the plan. Your performance measurement would only be meaningful if you had an accurate baseline. A project's baseline is defined as the original scope, cost, and schedule. The project's baseline must be completely defined and documented before the project execution and control activities can begin. So, baseline is created during planning. Deviations from baselines are often due to incomplete risk identification and risk management. 3 types of baselines are available in a project. They are scope baseline, schedule baseline, and cost baseline. Scope baseline contains the project scope statement, work breakdown structure, WBS, and WBS dictionary. You have some idea about the first two. WBS dictionary will be discussed in the next chapter. Schedule baseline is the agreed-upon schedule, including the start and stop times. Cost baseline is the time-phased cost budget. Once the project starts execution, the project's baseline is put under change control to help you evaluate any further change and its impact on the project. No meaningful measurements can be made if the scope, cost, and schedule are not under strict change control. Change management plan is the process, tools, and techniques to manage the people side of change to achieve a required business outcome. Change management incorporates the organizational tools that can be utilized to help individuals make successful personal transitions, resulting in the adoption and realization of change. Both project management and change management support moving an organization from a current state, meaning how things are done today, through a transition state to a desired future state, meaning the new processes, systems, organization structures, or job roles defined by the change. One point must be noted down. Project management focuses on the tasks to achieve the project requirements. Change management focuses on the people impacted by the change. Any change to processes, systems, organization structures, and/or job roles will have a technical side and a people side that must be managed. Project management and change management have evolved as disciplines to provide both the structure and the tools needed to realize change successfully on the technical and people side. So, the summary is that change management plans include change control procedures, the approval levels for authorizing changes, the creation of a change control board to approve changes, a plan outlining how changes will be managed and controlled, who should attend meetings regarding changes, and the tools used to track and control changes. Configuration management defines how you will manage changes to the deliverables and the resulting documentation, including which organizational tools you will use. Configuration management applies throughout the life cycle of a product and extends beyond the boundaries of a project. All of the information of configuration management is contained in Project Management Information System. Configuration Management Plan defines as configuration items that need to be placed under configuration control, items that require formal change control, and change control process. The kickoff meeting is the first meeting with the project team and the client of the project. This meeting would follow definition of the base elements for the project and other project planning activities. This meeting introduces the members of the project team and the client, and provides the opportunity to discuss the role of each team member. The basic format of a kickoff meeting includes the roles of and contributions from the stakeholders. It also mentions the risks and issues involved, particularly those that may affect project schedules and lead to decreased customer satisfaction. Above all, the kickoff meeting is an enthusiasm generator for the customer and displays a full summary of the project so far. By displaying a thorough knowledge of the goal and steps on how to reach it, the customer will gain confidence in the team's ability to deliver the work. That's why a project kickoff meeting is so important.